What's tea, people? What's good? What's alleged tea? So we're here to talk about it. The Chris Brown Rhianna situation, because he's been down, and this has been brought up for the thousandth million of times. So we're gonna talk about it today. How do I feel about the situation with Chris Brown and Rhianna? First of all, I want to say that violence on any end is not appropriate. I will say that whether that's from a man or from a woman, if you feel like you need to put your hands on the person you're with, it's best to leave. Get help, leave that situation. And in no way, no form, no fashion is it cool, okay to just put your hands on somebody. And if you feel like you want to do that with a person, then realize that that's the person you need to be very, very, very far away from. Now, Chris Brown has done music with Normandy, he's done music with Chloe, and that's very unfortunate because a lot of people are giving these women hate for wanting to do music, one of the hottest men in the game. Not literally hot is music wise, dance wise, it's a triple threat, but like literally he's fine as hell. Like he's a nice looking guy. Let's be clear. So the fact that women do not want to work with him ever, are you dumb? Are you crazy? You stupid? Like it's people having his baby, his kid. I'm sure there's women who want to marry him. So stop thinking he's a monster. We've all had our faults. We've all had our elements, and nobody's perfect. So the perfect person can cast the first stone. If you're not perfect, then shut the hell up. Okay? Because at the end of the day, I didn't even know it was that long ago, 17 years ago. That's number one. Number two, well, it may have been less than that, but he was a child when it happened. So that's number three, four, and five. Like, he was a child. I didn't even know that. That's another video coming soon about, anyway, but he's a child star. Who would have thought? Because he was living like this adult lifestyle with Rhianna in this relationship. It was all in front of everybody. I had no idea that he was a child. And that's crazy to me because I really feel bad for him. Because I do dumb stuff that I regret in my adult years. Because I'm still learning, I'm still growing, I'm still evolving. But imagine if I was being judged for something when I was a child. That's crazy. But I'm sure a lot of people did not know he was that young because I didn't even know. I really didn't. Like, to me, that's crazy. Like, to imagine that he has to experience all that at such a young age, the fame, the picture perfect life, the public relationship, to be with one of the baddest. And just imagine she was young too. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure they would tell their younger self a lot of things, and grow from it. To be honest, I really feel like if the public was not so invested in their lives, their future, and in their ear, they probably would have still been together today, if not rekindled. Because life has a way of righting its wrongs, and then you see your errors of your ways and having you be able to grow from that and learn from that experience, so forth and so on. So I'm sure Chris regrets that decision every day, especially now that it's thrown up in his face so often. I'm sure Rihanna regrets some of the things that she did in the situation to set him off. Because I'm sure he just was not spazzing out and just duking up on her. I'm sorry. Once again, violence is not the answer. I'm just having a mental picture in my head, so y'all excuse me. But I'm just thinking about him just out of nowhere, just hey, blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm sure it was not that scenario. I feel like he was triggered. I feel like he was provoked. Not saying that in that provocation that made it right or any less wrong for him to lash out or violate her the way he did, because she did have like a black eye, bruises to her face, and she's a beautiful, beautiful woman. That's the last thing you want to see. But I guess because she was so beautiful, and maybe he felt like he was losing her, he wanted to injure her face. Now, true enough, I can't say that he's ever hit her before or after that, but I just know that it happened that time. I don't believe that it happened before that or after that, but it definitely was televised, publicized, so it's hard for people to forget, of course, whether it was done intentionally or not. It's like forever branded. It was made very, very public. A very private moment, a very private event was made public because it got physical. Now, allegedly, Rhianna saw that with her family. So I'm sure in her head, she was like, I would never date somebody who's going to put their hands on me. Because in her mind, she's like, oh, my mom stayed and it kept happening, or so forth, allegedly. So she's not wanting the same thing, but I don't think Chris would ever do that to her now, or even wanting to do that afterwards. So apparently he saw something in his life that made him feel like that was normal, that was okay. And I'm sure now he knows very well that that's not okay. And he's even trying to connect again with fans, which I commend him on, charging them $1,000 to do whatever kind of photo that they want or whatever. But at the end of the day, I forgive him. I forgive him, especially now that I know he was a child. But I've been forgave him. Like, I'm gonna forgive you after 3-4 years. I'm gonna forgive you. Like, I'm not gonna hold a grudge like that, because for one, I'm sorry, I did some stuff probably a couple of months ago that I gotta forgive myself for. So at the end of the day, like, we all need forgiveness. We all need that thing called grace. Because if you have grace with people, that's how you get your own grace when you need it. And I will tell you one thing: in grace can come blessings. I'm a firm believer of that, and a testimony of that. Through God's grace, I have been helped, I've been healed, and I'm thankful. So don't ever count grace out. Forgiveness is really just giving somebody your grace, just like you want God to give you his grace. But I'm not even like a very, religious person like that. I'm just speaking therapeutically and trying to be on your level so you can understand what I'm saying. But I feel like people just need to let that go. Because to be honest, these people have genuine love for each other. And I feel like they still do have genuine love for each other. And I feel like if Rhianna wasn't raised in a situation that she was in, she probably still would have been with Chris. But due to everybody being in their business and the fact that she refused to be a victim and the fact that she loved herself more, she stepped away. But I will say this: I don't think it used to be a time that I'd be like, oh yeah, if a person hits you, they hate your guts, they want to hurt you. I will say this: there's some instances that people will do things to you, harm you, that it has nothing personally to do with you. And it can be going on with a lot of the things that they've been traumatized from, things that they have not been healed from. It has nothing to do with you personally, but when it's happening to you, that's the very first thing you're going to think. Oh, he hates me. He wants to kill me. Like, he hates my guts. That's the first thing you're going to think. But that's not the case at all. Because like I said, I feel like they have genuine love for each other. If you don't know, it was rumored that Rhianna grabbed his phone, threw it out the window. I know for me, if you grab my phone and throw it out the window of a moving vehicle, we are going to have a problem. Especially now with these iPhones being expensive as they are, even though I don't even do iPhones right now, but I have. But even now with them being expensive as they are, it's like you don't want to have your phone thrown out of a moving car. That would trigger a lot of people, especially young people, especially young people today. They are lost without their phones. Lost. Okay, and I'm sure it was at that point where he was telling her that he was not doing anything, this, and that, and she was like, just got mad and threw his phone. And I felt like because he was mad at her not believing him, mad at the situation, mad at the fact that his phone was destroyed, people in there that he probably needed, photos, songs, whatever was in that phone, he got mad. And he could have definitely handled it a different way. And I'm sure now he may know it another way. I feel like he still has love for Rhianna. And I'm not talking about no puppy love. I'm talking about love for Rhianna. That's what makes it hard for him to even talk about the situation. He goes on interviews. He doesn't really talk about it. Because he know he messed up. I feel like Rhianna doesn't know that he still has love for her, but she still has love for him. I actually wanted them to have a baby together. It would have been beautiful. But at the end of the day, I'm happy for Rhianna and ASAP. And Chris Brown has moved on with his life. But I still feel like they look at each other as that special person. The one got away. But if people are throwing this up in his face every day, how would they ever think about rekindling? Because they're in the public eye and they want to appeal to the public, satisfy the public, make the public happy, despite how they're feeling on the inside. Now, it couldn't be me. I wouldn't give a damn. But to them and the people that they work for, they got to please the people. So, I also feel like people can hit people out of passion. Not saying that's right. Even with, like I said, with the Christian Rock and Blueface situation, as it was brought up, it's definitely toxic. But I also feel like based on their where they grew up, the way they experienced life, that's what they know. But I do feel like Blueface cares a lot about Christian. Christian cares a lot about Blueface. Like love. They even use the word love. I mean, how else could you explain them coming back to each other? And I do feel like Chris Brown still loves Rhianna to this day and wants the best for her. He's happy for her in every way. And I do feel like Rhianna will always have feelings for Chris and want the best for him as well. It's like that unconditional love. The unconditional love is that severe, strong, like loving, like strong, powerful love that a lot of people may not be aware of, know about. That's me, like they gonna love you despite all the wrong that you do, despite all your imperfections that you have. And I respect it. And for that sake of knowing that it could have been an act of passion. Now I'll say, okay, if it keeps happening, like, oh yeah, they're probably trying to hurt you. But just because somebody hits you like one time, it don't necessarily mean that they can't stand your guts. Sometimes it can just be passion and trauma and hurt that they have experienced in life, which is very unfortunate, very sad. A very sad situation. Because to be honest, when I used to see them together, I used to be jealous. It was goals. It was goals for a lot of people. I mean, even more than Jay-Z and Beyonce almost. Like seeing Chris Brown and Rhianna, the way they interacted with each other, the way they had love for each other, the way they were so passionate for each other. It was definitely goals. It was definitely giving goals. And I think people should move on. Hopefully we'll move on. I know they will move on. And if not, life goes on with or without people's approval or validation. It is what it is.